today were your last day, what would you regret not doing? Don't answer yet. Just let that sit for a second. Close your notifications. Put your phone out of reach. Because most of us aren't really living. We're waiting. Waiting for the right moment, the right year, the right version of ourselves that never quite shows up. And somewhere in all that waiting, years disappear. I'm not going to promise you this video changes your life. That's not mine to promise. That's for you to prove, by what you do after it ends, not by what I say now. But here's what I will tell you. A life isn't wasted through one big mistake. It's wasted one unnoticed day at a time. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to stop that starting today. If that's something you need, hit subscribe and stay till the end. Let's begin. Part 1. The truth nobody says out loud. Let's start with something honest. Maybe painful, but it will set you free. You don't lose your life in one dramatic day. You lose it quietly, in days that feel completely unremarkable. Read that again. It's not one big failure that drains a life. It's not a single wrong decision. It's not bad luck. What drains a life is routine. Days that blur into each other until you can't tell last Monday from this one. Wake up, scroll, work, collapse on the couch, scroll again, sleep, repeat. And somewhere in between, you tell yourself, I'll start next week. I'll change next year. I'll chase that dream once things settle down. But things never settle on their own. Only the calendar changes. Your age goes up. Your life doesn't. Let's talk honestly about time because no school ever teaches this. The average human life is roughly 4,000 weeks. That's it. 4,000. It sounds like a lot until you draw it on paper, 1 box per week, and realize most of the boxes are already filled in. What's left is far less than you think. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because the real problem isn't that time is short. It's that we live as if it were infinite, so we treat it like something cheap. Something you can throw away without a second thought. You'd never throw cash in the street. But you throw away hours, days without blinking. Because time doesn't disappear loudly. It disappears in silence. This isn't about being lazy. It's not about being stupid. It's about one thing almost nobody talks about. You were never trained to live on purpose. You were trained to get by, to follow the current, to wait for instructions. School taught you to obey. Work taught you to be productive for someone else. Nobody ever taught you how to actually live with intention, with direction, with courage. So you fall into autopilot. Wake up because you have to. Work because you have to. Sleep because you're tired. And in between all that have to, your want to, your dreams, the best version of yourself, quietly disappears into the shadow of routine. Let's compare it to something simpler. Imagine you're handed one full tank of gas and told it's the only one you'll ever get. No refills. Would you let that engine idle in the garage, burning fuel, exhaust pouring out, never actually driving it anywhere that matters? That's exactly what we're doing with our lives. We let the engine run. We burn the fuel. But we never actually drive toward the places we say we want to go. And here's the most painful part of all. Wasting a life doesn't feel like a disaster. It feels comfortable. It feels safe. Because every wasted day looks small on its own, harmless in isolation. No alarm goes off. No one taps you on the shoulder and says, "Careful, you're wasting your life." That awareness usually arrives late. It shows up in a hospital bed. It shows up when you lose someone you love and realize how little time you actually spent with them. It shows up when you watch someone else achieve what you once dreamed of, and you remember the year you quietly gave up on it. But today you have something rare. That awareness has arrived now, not later. And that means you still have time to act. Because this isn't about mourning the past. It's about waking up right now, before you run out of days to change. Here's the good part, and it's what separates this video from empty motivation. You can train yourself to live on purpose. Just like a muscle, awareness of time, the courage to act, and clarity about what actually matters can all be built. Not through one big dramatic decision, but through a small, consistent daily system. And that's exactly what we're going to build together starting right now. Part 2. the 5-minute system that changes how you live. Let me open with a bold promise. If you do what I'm about to show you, just 5 minutes a day, every day, for the next 30 days, the way you live your life will change. Not just in your head, in the choices you make every day, in how you spend your free time, in how you look at yourself in the mirror each morning. You might think 5 minutes is too short to change anything, but that's the biggest misunderstanding about how real change happens. Big transformation doesn't come from one dramatic moment. It comes from small repetition that quietly stacks up, until one day you realize you've become a different person. Reading about a meaningful life is knowledge. Living one is action. And action needs repeated practice, not just understanding. So let's break down the 5-minute system, step by step. Step 1. Death awareness. 1 minute. This sounds heavy, I know. Stay with me. Every morning, before you touch your phone, before the outside world starts talking to you, close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself one question. If today were my last day, what would I regret not doing? This isn't meant to frighten you. It's meant to make you honest. Because mortality is the one thing that cuts through every fake excuse we build for procrastination. Later. Not ready yet. There's still time. All of that collapses the moment you truly ask, what if there isn't? This isn't a grief exercise. It's a presence exercise. People who are aware their time is limited live fuller lives than people who feel like they have forever. Step 2. Priority audit. 1 minute. Grab a piece of paper or a notes app. Write one question at the top. What actually matters to me, not what looks important to everyone else. Now write 3 things. 3 things that, if you're brutally honest, are the real reasons you get out of bed. Could be family. Could be a piece of work you want to create. Could be freedom. Could be peace of mind. Now compare that to how you actually spent your time yesterday. Did it align with those 3 things? Or did it contradict them? Don't judge yourself here. Just look honestly at the gap between what you say matters and what you actually do. That gap, that's exactly where a life gets wasted. Not because you're bad or lazy, but because you never stop to look at it. Step 3. 1 bold action. 2 minutes. This is the core of it. Not a 5-year plan. Not a New Year's resolution. 1 small, brave action you take today. Send the message you've been avoiding. Sign up for the class you've been scared of. Talk to the person you've been dodging. Start page 1 of something that's only ever existed as an idea in your head. Write down that 1 action right now in 2 minutes. Not tomorrow. Now, why does this matter? Because a life doesn't change through intention. It changes through repeated action. Every small brave move sends 1 signal to your brain. I'm not someone who waits. I'm someone who moves. Step 4. Gratitude anchor. 1 minute. After all that awareness of limited time and the pressure to act, there's a risk you end up anxious instead of motivated. That's why this step matters. Say out loud 3 things you're grateful for today. Can be as simple as being able to breathe calmly. A cup of coffee this morning. 1 person still in your life. This isn't spiritual filler. It's a real technique. Because someone who lives out of fear of running out of time will panic. But someone who lives out of gratitude for the time they still have will move forward calmly and with real intention. Step 5. Vision rehearsal. 1 minute. Close your eyes 1 more time. Picture yourself 5 years from now as someone who actually ran this system every single day. How does that person walk? How do they speak? What have they built because they stopped putting things off? Feel it for a full minute. Not a quick glance. Actually feel it. Your brain doesn't clearly separate real experience from vivid imagination. Every time you do this, you're laying down the neural pathway toward the version of you that doesn't waste time. Let's recap. 1 minute of death awareness. 1 minute of priority audit. 2 minutes of 1 bold action. 1 minute of gratitude anchor. 1 minute of vision rehearsal. Total 5 minutes. Impact a lifetime. Most people skip this entirely. They chase another self-help book. They watch another video. They collect inspiring quotes on social media. But they never sit down for 5 honest minutes and actually face their own life. But not you, because now you have a system, a daily reflection space, right in your own room. And you don't need anyone else to start it. You just need honesty, courage, and 5 minutes. Part 3. The invisible thief stealing your days. Let me say something completely honest. You don't lose your time to one huge event. You lose it to 1,000 tiny leaks, each one looking harmless on its own. I call this the silent time thief. It never shows up with an alarm. It shows up disguised as rest, as entertainment, as just for a bit. Let's be honest about something. 5 minutes of scrolling is rarely actually 5 minutes. It becomes 15, 30, an hour without you ever really deciding that. Because those apps were built deliberately by very smart people to make you lose track of time. This isn't entirely your fault, but it's entirely your responsibility to control. There are 4 biggest time thieves you need to recognize. First, unlimited passive entertainment. Entertainment itself isn't bad. Rest matters. But entertainment with no boundary, no intention behind it, is what quietly eats your days. Second, procrastination disguised as preparation. This is the sneakiest one. You feel productive because you're researching first, learning first, getting ready first, when what's actually happening is you're avoiding the scary first step. Third, drama that isn't yours. How much energy and time do you spend on other people's conflicts, gossip, news that makes you angry but that you can't change? All of that is time stolen from your own life. Fourth, perfectionism disguised as caution. You wait for perfect conditions, the perfect tool, perfect confidence before you start. But perfect conditions never arrive. They're just an excuse that sounds reasonable. Now let's talk about how to fight back. Not with harsh, unrealistic military discipline, but with one simple technique I call the focus block. Here's how it works. Every time you want to do something that truly matters to you, something aligned with the 3 priorities you wrote down in step 2, block out one chunk of time, just 25 minutes, completely uninterrupted. Phone in another room. Notifications fully off. Just you and that one task. 25 minutes sounds small, but 25 minutes of full focus is worth more than 3 hours of half-hearted work interrupted every few minutes by your phone. Why does this work? Because your brain, like a muscle, needs a warm-up to reach deep focus. If you're constantly interrupted, you never actually get there. You just keep restarting from zero, never actually moving forward. Do at least one focus block a day for something that genuinely matters to you. Not for the work you're obligated to do, for the life you're actually trying to build. There's one question you can use anytime you're unsure whether you're wasting time or not. Ask yourself, will the version of me 5 years from now be grateful for what I'm doing right now? If the answer is yes, keep going with peace of mind. If the answer is no, that's your signal to stop and choose again. This isn't about beating yourself up every time you rest or have fun. Rest is necessary. Enjoyment is human. What's dangerous isn't the rest itself. What's dangerous is when rest becomes the default and meaningful action becomes the exception. Flip that. Make meaningful action your daily default, and rest the reward you give yourself afterward, not the escape hatch you fall into every time life feels heavy. Part 4. Training your mind and your actions together. Let's start with something simple but painful. You can know all of this. You can nod along with every sentence in this video. But if there's still a voice inside your head saying, I won't make it, it's too late for me, other people can, but I can't, then this entire system will collapse before it even begins. Because your actions will never outgrow what you believe about yourself. You can write 1,000 plans. You can watch hundreds of motivational videos. But if deep down you still believe you don't deserve a better life, or that it's too late to change, your resolve will weaken before your first step even lands. So in this part, I'll show you how to train your mind and your actions together, so they move in the same direction instead of pulling against each other. Picture your mind as the pilot and your actions as the plane. If the pilot is nervous, hesitant, and unsure, the plane won't fly smoothly, no matter how powerful the engine is. That's exactly what happens when you only train habits without fixing the beliefs underneath them. Let's fix it step by step. Step 1. Talk to yourself like someone you love. Notice how you talk to yourself when you fail. Most people are far crueler to themselves than they'd ever be to someone else. You're stupid. You're always like this. You'll never change. Try replacing that. Not with empty flattery, but with fairer honesty. I failed this time, but that's not who I am. I'm learning, and learning is naturally full of mistakes. I still have time to fix this. This isn't about coddling yourself. It's about fairness. Because the voice in your head is the voice you hear more than any other voice in your entire life. If that voice keeps punishing you, of course you'll be afraid to try. Step 2. Act as the person you want to become. This is a technique used by people who've pulled off dramatic life changes. Instead of waiting to feel confident before acting, act as if you're already the version of yourself you want to be, and let the confidence catch up. If you want to become disciplined, ask, what would a disciplined person do right now? Then do that even though it doesn't feel like you yet. If you want to become brave, ask, what would a brave person do in this situation? Then do it even with shaking hands. Identity isn't built from feeling. It's built from repeated action. You don't become disciplined and then act disciplined. You act disciplined over and over until one day you realize you've actually become that person. Step 3. Create small evidence every single day. Your brain doesn't trust promises. It trusts evidence. Every time you tell yourself, I'm going to change, and no action follows, your brain files that away as a lie, and over time you stop trusting yourself. But every time you follow through on something small you promised yourself, get up when you plan to, finish the task you've been avoiding, say the thing you were scared to say, your brain logs that as evidence, and your trust in yourself slowly gets rebuilt. Confidence isn't something you find. It's something you build one small piece of evidence at a time. Step 4. Use your body, not just your mind. This gets overlooked constantly. Confidence isn't just about what you think. It's also about how you stand, how you breathe, how you move. Try this right now. Sit or stand up straight. Take a deep breath. Lift your chin slightly. Feel the difference compared to slouching with shallow, shortened breath. Body and mind influence each other in both directions. You can shift your mindset through how you move your body. Before doing something that scares you, stand tall, take 3 deep breaths, and feel that courage rise from your body into your mind, not the other way around. Step 5. The daily Mindandaction practice. 5 minutes. Do this every day. 1 minute, write a fairer sentence to replace the usual self-criticism. 1 minute, ask what the best version of you would do today. 1 minute, take one small action that proves to yourself you can be trusted. 1 minute, stand tall and take deep breaths while saying your intention for today out loud. 1 minute, log one small piece of evidence you created today. If you don't train your mind and your actions together, you'll keep feeling like you're wearing a mask, pretending to be confident while still doubting yourself underneath. But when both are aligned, you're no longer just trying to live better. You actually become someone who lives on purpose. And the world will feel that difference before you say a single word. Part 5. Smart consistency, not just grinding through. Let me open with a warning. If you're consistent the wrong way, you'll burn out and quit within weeks. But if you're consistent the right way, you'll build momentum that lasts a lifetime. Most people, when they try to change, do this. They're excited on day 1, push themselves to do everything at once, exhaust themselves by day 3, feel guilty on day 5 for missing a day, and quit entirely by week 2. This isn't because they're weak. It's because they misunderstand how real change actually works. Real change isn't about intensity. It's about sustainability. Not how hard you push in one day, but how long you can keep showing up, day after day, even on days you don't feel motivated at all. Here's a 5-stage system I call Grow Without Breaking. Stage 1. Start smaller than feels comfortable. The biggest mistake is starting too big. If you want to read more, don't set a goal of 1 book a week. Set a goal of 1 page a day. It sounds too small to matter. That's exactly the point. A goal too small to fail is a goal you'll actually keep doing every single day with no excuse to skip it. Stage 2. Build a streak you don't want to break. After that small target runs for a few days, you'll start feeling something powerful, a reluctance to break the streak. Use that feeling. Keep a simple log, mark every day you follow through. That streak becomes real proof that you're someone your own self can rely on. And the longer it gets, the stronger the natural pull not to end it. Stage 3. Plan for bad days before they happen. This is the part people forget most. You will have hard days. Days you're sick, exhausted, overwhelmed, or just don't want to do anything at all. Most people stop completely on days like that, and the moment the streak breaks, they feel like total failures and give up entirely. Instead, prepare a minimum version of your habit for exactly those days. If your normal practice is 5 minutes, on the worst day, do 1 minute. Not 0. 1 minute. Because what kills change isn't one missed day. What kills change is believing one missed day means everything is ruined. Stage 4. Celebrate the process, not just the result. If you only feel proud when a big result arrives, you'll run out of motivation long before that result shows up. Real change takes time, usually longer than you expect. So celebrate the action itself, not just the outcome. Every time you run through the 5-minute system, that's a win on its own, regardless of what happens afterward. Because you're becoming someone who keeps their word to themselves. And in the end, that matters more than any single result. Stage 5. Take it into real life. Once this habit starts to take root, start applying it to real situations. If you've been practicing courage through one bold action daily, use that courage for the conversation you've been avoiding. If you've been practicing focus through 25-minute blocks, use that focus for the big project you've been putting off. The small daily practice was never the finish line. It was preparation. The real finish line is the actual life you live as the trained version of yourself. Always remember this. Consistency isn't about being perfect every day. Consistency is about never fully stopping, even when you slow down. Every person you admire for living a meaningful life, they weren't people who never failed or never had a lazy day. They were people who, after falling, always came back the next day. Not perfect, just never fully done. Say this and mean it. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to never stop. Because that's how a meaningful life gets built. Not in one giant leap. In 1,000 small steps that never fully stop. Part 6, the final truth. Let's pause everything for a moment. Set aside every plan in your head. Forget the to-do list. Just listen, because this part isn't about learning something new. It's about finally doing what you already know. You're not a failure. You just haven't practiced living on purpose, consistently, yet. Let me repeat that honestly. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another piece of advice. You need repetition. You need a system. You need real practice. And if you don't do it, you'll stay stuck, quietly, painfully, for years to come. There are millions of people in this world who fully understand the idea of a meaningful life, who watch motivational videos every day, who collect beautiful quotes about time and purpose, but they never actually live according to what they understand. Why? Because they consume inspiration, but never train action. They know everything in theory, but their actual life, day after day, never changes. And that's the most painful part. Not ignorance. Knowledge that never becomes action. You go to a job you don't love and stay silent. You meet the person you wanted to approach and smile, then walk away. You want to chase something that makes your heart feel alive, but your mind freezes every time you get close. All because you've never trained yourself to actually live, not just get by. And here's the part that hurts. Because you're actually smart. You have desire. You want a meaningful life. But your habits haven't caught up with your dreams yet. Let's compare two kinds of people. The first, the collector, watches 3 hours of motivational videos, follows 10 inspiration accounts, buys 5 self-help books, practices 0. The second, the life builder, watches 10 minutes that actually matters, picks one system, runs it for 5 minutes every day, stands in front of the mirror, looks at themselves, and acts. One collects, the other transforms themselves. One wants information, the other wants transformation. Which one are you? You already know everything you need. You know you need to stop postponing. Practice daily. Train your mind and your actions together. Build small evidence. Celebrate the process, not just the outcome. But you haven't done it. Why? Because you're waiting for permission. Because you're afraid of trying and failing. Because you're afraid of being laughed at. and that fear is quietly stealing your future. Ask yourself, how many chances have you already lost because you didn't act? The job you never applied for, the relationship you didn't fight for, the dream you never chased, the version of yourself that, until now, has never really lived. You can't change the past, but you can change the next 30 days. You can do the first 5 minutes today. You can take one bold action tomorrow. You can rebuild trust in yourself, one small piece of evidence at a time. And by the end of this month, you'll feel something different. Lighter, more alive. All because you did what other people only ever plan to do. Even when it's hard. Even when no one's watching. Even when you want to quit. You keep showing up. You keep acting. You don't give up. Because that's how a meaningful life gets built. It's not a moment. It's not a single destination. It's not a number you hit. It's a decision you repeat every day. I will live on purpose today no matter how I feel. That's the real secret. Not motivation. Not talent. Not luck. Just consistent practice. A meaningful life gets built in the mirror, in the living room, in the quiet nights, in the early mornings still dark, in the private spaces no one else sees. But one day, someone will look at your life and say, you actually lived fully. They won't know about the 5 minutes every morning, about the shaky bold actions, about the nights you wanted to quit but kept going anyway. Only you will know that you fought for it, that you trained for it, that you built this life from nothing, decision by decision, day by day. If you don't practice living on purpose, you'll stay stuck. That's not a threat. That's a fact. And you've already wasted enough time not being aware of it. Now it's time to practice. Now it's time to move. Now it's time to become who you actually are. So say this now out loud with your full voice. I will no longer live on autopilot. I will no longer wait for the perfect moment. I will no longer fear trying and failing. I will train myself every single day. I will live on purpose starting now. Because this life is mine. This time is mine. And this dream is mine. Now claim it. Let's close this journey with the truth most people avoid, and the truth that can change the rest of your life. You've watched the video. You've heard the system. You've seen the steps. But now this isn't about me anymore. It's not about this video. It's about you. Because right now you have two choices. You can close this video and go back to your old life, watching more motivational content, reading more quotes, but staying on autopilot. Or you can stand up right now, look in the mirror and say, I will live with full awareness starting today. I will train my mind, my actions, and my time every single day. I am no longer afraid to start. I am no longer waiting. That's how change begins. Not someday. Not next week. Now. Because your time is running, your life is waiting, and your story is just getting started. Don't let fear run your life. Don't let doubt steal your time. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real, consistent, and brave. This is your life now. This is your time now. And this is your moment now. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who's still standing still, and drop a comment below. I will not waste my life anymore. Say it, feel it, live it, and remember, the people who truly live full lives aren't the luckiest ones. They're simply the ones who refuse to keep putting it off. So stop putting it off. Your real life begins the moment you stop waiting. End. Because by the end of this video, you will not look at your life the same way again. Let me ask you something simple. If your life ended tonight, what would you regret the most? Not a comfortable question, I know. Don't rush to answer it. Just let it sit in your chest for a second. Because most of us live as if time were unlimited. We postpone. We wait for the right moment. We say later, tomorrow, next year, when I'm ready. But there is no later. There is only now, quietly turning into the past while you keep waiting. This is not another motivational rant. Not another list of quotes you'll forget 5 minutes after this video ends. This is a system, a way of thinking and a way of acting that, if you actually apply it, will change how you live every single day you have left. Because a life isn't wasted through one big mistake. It's wasted through 1,000 small days that pass unnoticed, unlived, unclaimed. So if you've ever felt time racing by and you don't know where it went, if you've ever woken up and thought, I've come this far, but what have I actually built? If you're afraid that one day you'll look back and realize you spent your life waiting for it to begin, this video is for you. Hit subscribe right now, because this could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Let's begin. Part 1. The truth nobody says out loud. Let's start with something honest. Maybe painful, but it will set you free. You don't lose your life in one dramatic day. You lose it quietly, in days that feel completely unremarkable. Read that again. It's not one big failure that drains a life. It's not a single wrong decision. It's not bad luck. What drains a life is routine. Days that blur into each other until you can't tell last Monday from this one. Wake up, scroll, work, collapse on the couch, scroll again, sleep, repeat, and somewhere in between you tell yourself, I'll start next week. I'll change next year. I'll chase that dream once things settle down. But things never settle on their own. Only the calendar changes. Your age goes up. Your life doesn't. Let's talk honestly about time, because no school ever teaches this. The average human life is roughly 4,000 weeks. That's it. 4,000. It sounds like a lot until you draw it on paper, 1 box per week, and realize most of the boxes are already filled in. What's left is far less than you think. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because the real problem isn't that time is short. It's that we live as if it were infinite, so we treat it like something cheap. Something you can throw away without a second thought. You'd never throw cash in the street. But you throw away hours, days without blinking. Because time doesn't disappear loudly. It disappears in silence. This isn't about being lazy. It's not about being stupid. It's about one thing almost nobody talks about. You were never trained to live on purpose. You were trained to get by, to follow the current, to wait for instructions. School taught you to obey. Work taught you to be productive for someone else. Nobody ever taught you how to actually live with intention, with direction, with courage. So you fall into autopilot. Wake up because you have to. Work because you have to. Sleep because you're tired. And in between all that have to, your want to, your dreams, the best version of yourself, quietly disappears into the shadow of routine. Let's compare it to something simpler. Imagine you're handed 1 full tank of gas and told it's the only one you'll ever get. No refills. Would you let that engine idle in the garage, burning fuel, exhaust pouring out, never actually driving it anywhere that matters? That's exactly what we're doing with our lives. We let the engine run. We burn the fuel. But we never actually drive toward the places we say we want to go. And here's the most painful part of all. Wasting a life doesn't feel like a disaster. It feels comfortable. It feels safe. Because every wasted day looks small on its own, harmless in isolation. No alarm goes off. No one taps you on the shoulder and says, "Careful, you're wasting your life." That awareness usually arrives late. It shows up in a hospital bed. It shows up when you lose someone you love and realize how little time you actually spent with them. It shows up when you watch someone else achieve what you once dreamed of, and you remember the year you quietly gave up on it. But today you have something rare. That awareness has arrived now, not later. And that means you still have time to act. Because this isn't about mourning the past. It's about waking up right now, before you run out of days to change. Here's the good part, and it's what separates this video from empty motivation.